Hi everybody, this is Taylor O'Kelly and this is my project. So we start off here with this map and city illustration, and I did go in and add alt text. I'm just honestly not sure how to find it. That's something I'm still learning. And so something like this would say city illustration and roadmap. And so I've got the sign here that says Mango Street and click on each numbered stop. I have purposely left them blank for a little bit of mystery. And so here we've got this animation and it says Meet Esperanza, and I'll have a little blurb for each stop here, and then we'll click go. And so first off, we are introduced to the info icons. I made the executive decision that before you meet anyone or before you learn what my project goals are and why I chose this topic, I decided it was more important to know how to navigate the actual project. And so as you can see, each icon serves a different purpose, but I did try to keep everything within a similar color palette. And then we'll click this next one, and it'll take you over to where we do learn about Esperanza, who is the protagonist and narrator, as we see here. And this used to be a hover, and now it's a click, and it's still giving me some issues. I apologize. That's frustrating. So you can see some of these work just fine. Give a little bit of information about the place and some research, and this is text. There it goes, and then you click out of it. That one's still a little buggy, and then the help pops up, and this menu is always there. And moving on, for sake of time, you just go right back to each roadmap, and on the left hand side you can see that it's tracking, but I wasn't able to set it up in this prototype. Maybe later. And so moving on to section 2, we start and we can just see this really picturesque house setting. And again, my alt text would explain what this looked like. And then when you hover over the mango, it takes you straight to text. And I decided that it was crucial to read this whole chapter. A lot of times when the house on Mango Street is taught in high school, sometimes it's only this chapter. They're called vignettes because each one can stand on its own, but they are typically used together to tell the whole story. And so we'd click through, and I wish I had time to read it to you or had a great storytelling voice, but I don't. And so after you would have read through the text, you'd learn that the house on Mango Street is not that picturesque house. It's more like this old tenement style housing, and this is actually the house that it's based off of, as you can see here. And I repeated this quote because it was essential. And then here you see down, down. I offer you some insight, some linguistic insight into what down is representing here. We keep exploring. Come over to number 3. A little bit of media. And in a later prototype, my goal would be to have a lot more news for current immigration issues. I think a lot of what's going on is terrible and sad, but for the sake of this project, I didn't get very political, just informative. And so here, I have another issue with this mango. I'm not sure if it's maybe this icon in particular. I'm not sure why it would be in our icon groups if it doesn't want to work. Okay, and so it has more text and even a little blurb down here. And this is a section of the vignette. I took it from the PDF that's free online and linked on my resources page at the very end. And so I'll click on the knobs, and I've got some HuffPost quotes from some famous Latina actresses that I thought was really important, and just a few current relatable people who basically say that they never saw a representation of themselves in media unless it was a stereotype or something that they did not want to be associated with, which is how Esperanza feels. And it's part of the issue of why she thinks that she can have a dream house. She is not old enough to have come to the understanding that because of her skin color and background, she won't get what media presents as the ideal life with the house with the picket fence. And if you're interested in a scholarly approach on that, I include my research and my scholarship at the end in the resources as well. And this is the third button, and this is our current president and a little bit of what he says on Mexican people in particular. I'm just going to click out of that and let you read that and determine what you will. And again, so here's the menu, always available. We'll go back out, and we're at stop number 4. And it's not so much a Cinderella story, is what I basically get at here. And it connects back to that. So what you see here is I tried to incorporate video for the first time. I borrowed from the content library. I did elect to use closed captioning, and I added my own as well. I guess I technically need to adjust the timeline a little bit for this video presentation, but for the sake of a user, I would want it to start immediately. And you can adjust the volume as you saw. And so I've got this buggy mango with the text that comes up. And it's pretty essential. It's an incredibly good vignette in the novella. One of my favorites, the one that my scholarship is built around, because when you have a story like Cinderella that is used over and over and over and changed so many times and originates in China, but most people don't even know that there are Indian versions, just so many different appropriations of this story. And we've got Esperanza who says, "Hooray, today we are Cinderella." And again, she doesn't understand that she can't be Cinderella because of the fact that she is a Latina. She is other. And so it's crucial to see that she has this childlike idea, and then it's juxtaposed with this mature item that gets her too much attention. And ultimately, she and her friends are sexualized by men in the neighborhood, and she doesn't think it's fun anymore. And that's what some of these research blurbs here explain. And shoes are mentioned over and over in this novella, whether they're Hispanic chanclas weighing her down, keeping her from wanting to dance, or just the different colors representing different things. It's actually fascinating to get into. But they are usually symbols of status, wealth, and sexuality. I could probably have a whole project on that, but I'll spare you this time. And so when you move on over to what I call the dead end, it's the end. It's the next to last chapter where Esperanza says goodbye. And she shares her love of storytelling. And it is undecided whether or not she ever gets to go. But the partner vignette to this that I don't include basically says that one day she'll have a house where her own 2 shoes are by the bed. And in my research, I mentioned how she ultimately finds a way to have the agency to not care if it's the Cinderella shoe or the Hispanic chancla. But for the sake of the project, I left that part out, and it is in my paper if you'd like to read on it. But here, I just like to say that it is unsure whether or not Esperanza actually leaves Mango Street. But it is circular because she says, "I have gone away to come back." And marching away creates this image of resistance and activism. And so whether or not Esperanza ever gets to leave, I like to think as a reader that she finds herself and is powerful for the rest of the community that is also othered. And then when we carry on, we go to that last stop, and it's the resource shelf, where I've included this drag and drop interaction where you just drag and drop these books onto the couch so that you can read them, and then you click the check down here, and you've got a novella, access to the whole thing, the research paper, and then also the link for the author, and you need to stay hovered in that book to get to read it all. And you go back to this end where I wish you all well, and I hope that you enjoy this brief prototype, but I hope more importantly that you read the novella and that it is everything for you that it is for me and more. And thank you so much for your time. And please let me know what you would like for me to change for the future. I'd like to continue working on it as my skills develop. Originally, I'd hoped to make a game interaction, but I just didn't have the skills just yet, but later. Thank you.